a name I am sure you are familiar with. And if not, well, by the end of the interview, you will definitely know who he is. So he's joining us virtually on set this morning. Good morning, Mr. Glasgow.
Good morning to you and good morning to all the beautiful people of Tobago. It's a pleasure to be on this morning on your
And the,
program.
and the name, of course, is associated with Randy Glasgow Productions. He's the CEO. So if you have been in Trinidad and Tobago and you go to particular shows, events, etc., this is a name that helps produce and puts on events like this. So Mr. Glasgow, of course, we have you here this morning. We're talking about restarting the new governance. You seem to be very vocal recently on social media platforms on various issues concerning whether it's Tuco, Trinbago, and just our culture in particular. So I want to start off right there so that people can understand what's going on, understand your point of view as well, and of course where you would suggest that we move forward as organizations, as a people. So I just want you to explain what happened, because I know that you pointed out how Tuco would have handled a particular situation, and you compared it to how Trinbago handled the same situation. So tell us more about that, what ensued, what the minister may have asked, how the different groups may have responded, and why did you make a comment on it?
Okay, well, a bad start always, don't have to mean a bad ending. And I want to presume things will work itself out in that regard. What happened basically was Tuco had threatened to take the minister to court because of the minister, wanted certain things within her board and so forth. And she have all right too. And Trinbago, approach it differently, where they bought their membership and the president got a mandate that she will be the person. Whereas Tuco decided to take it to court. And we felt that, as a newly minted minister, is not a good way for Tuco to start a relationship. But I want to believe things will work itself out and, common sense will prevail.
Right. And for those who may be unfamiliar with Tuco, tell us who Tuco is. And the president, I'm not sure if it's Mr. Kingsell or Mr. King, I'm not sure. So you tell us about that.
Yes, it's Mr. King. Yeah, it's who is from Tobago. He's the president and he's doing a wonderful job, but, at times, nobody's perfect and you make decisions that is not in the best interest of your organization. So I sure things will work itself out. Another argument we had was with this soccer competition.
Before you move on, because I think our viewers need to be quite clear. Sometimes things happen in the public space and we may miss it. So there seemed to be at least some contention, if that may be a strong word, but Tuco responded a particular way. What did the minister require for Tuco to respond in that way?
Well, I don't want to be quoted wrongly, but
Right.
I think the minister was saying she wanted some new faces on her NCC board.
Okay.
And the guys who served the previous terms, if Tuco could consider and the other organization could consider sending somebody else.
Okay.
And, as I said, things will work itself out. I'm sure of that.
Right. And of course, you wanted to talk about the soca industry or calypso industry.
Well, it's a soca competition. There was a new competition that took over from the Soca Monarch that is, part sponsored by the government. And we felt, if the government is sponsoring an event and the first prize is $1 million, we feel the competition should be structured in a way where that $1 million is supposed to stay in Trinidad and Tobago. While we support our Caribbean brothers, what I would have done or what I would have recommended is to have a category within the competition for international artists. So monies are tight in our country, and it used to be long time with oil and gas, so you could readily give $1 million and it doesn't matter who wins. But we feel with that kind of money, it should stay in Trinidad and Tobago. And that was my contention. Because there's every possibility, if the concept remains, you may get the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth places coming from different countries, you know, and I think the intention is to build the soca industry in Trinidad and Tobago. While they want to help others, but you have to ensure that most of the funding and the big money stays in our country.
And while I understand your point, do you not think that keeping it in the same format it is will allow our local soca artists to up their game? Because if it is that people from the outside are coming in and this is supposed to be ours and they are beating you at your own game, then some sort of change or, you know, should take place.
Well, while I agree with that, if you notice in the soca competition and so forth, you have a number of the big guys don't compete because the prices are not attractive. So you wouldn't get Bungie Garland, you wouldn't get Voice, you know, you wouldn't get a lot of big guys. So in cases like what is happening, you get soca guys who are not up there. But the islanders and the foreigners are better than them in a sense, because, you know, they start with an advantage where their music is produced way earlier, because, you know, their carnivals start from July, going right down, and, you know, July, August, there's always a carnival. So their music have more opportunity to build and grow. Whereas the Trinidad artists, they normally comes with their songs in November and December. So they're already starting at a disadvantage. So the foreigners, as I said, are competing. I wouldn't use the word second tier, but they're competing with guys, not the best Trinidad soca guys. So in most cases, they will come out on top. And I don't think, you know, you as a taxpayer, your dad and your family want to be taking our tax dollars to give it to our Caribbean brothers to go back to their country. Let the money stay in Trinidad. So as I said, the best thing is to have a category for the international artists, but the Trinidad and Tobago soca guys have the competition for themselves. The main competition where the main prizes would in fact stay in Trinidad and Tobago.
Fair enough. You also spoke about, you know, the millions being paid, and maybe the soca artists, the Calypsonians, they have this large purse of prize money. And you said, well, what is happening to Pan?
Yes.
Yeah, what
Yes.
have you observed? Or why would you compare? Because I know people would have commented, well, you probably can't give so much money for Pan, or if you do, it's a whole Pan side and all of this, and the payment will still end up being small. So tell us a little more about that perspective.
Yes. Pan is our national instrument. And when you look at soca, you look at calypso, you look at chutney, all these genres, you have millionaires. But in the Pan, there's no millionaires. So the objective for us really is to put more money into Pan, you know, across the board. And we were suggesting that, you know, every year NCC build a North Stand that costs millions of dollars, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, you know, and this is for one event. And when you look at it, people who go into the North Stand for this Panama semifinals, they're going to stand up. They don't sit down. So you're
Right.
building a stand for people to stand up. And that don't make sense. So we're saying, don't build the North Stand, and the monies you save, you put it back into Pan. So you make up a Panama first prize, $2 million. Because presently I think they take to the bank $900,000 to pay 100 Pan men and rangers to keep
Right.
the. So it's insufficient. And coming back to the soca, while you're paying the Panorama winner 900,000, one soca person is winning $1 million. So it isn't really making much sense. So the idea is to help the Pan, you know, to grow, put more money in the Pan, and by eliminating the North Stand, you know, you have $4 or $5 million that is there that you don't have to ask the government for, but put it into Pan, and things will happen.
So
You know, so this
who puts the money into the prizes? Is it solely the government, or are there also private sponsors that throw in money?
is the government. Pan Trinbago will get other sponsors to do other things, but the prizes are government.
Okay.
You
And
know, so
we're talking about redirecting monies from the North Stand, the whole management of that system. So I just want to be quite clear. it's
Yes.
only erected for panorama semis. No other event makes use of it.
But it's there, and you have other events there, but it's poorly attended. But for
Okay.
some reason, probably the marketing, but the only event that you see, a substantial crowd is for the Panama semifinals.
So what can
Even
be used instead of erecting that structure?
well, you have space. You have a lot of space, and if you look at events abroad, you go to probably Central Park, and you would see the Global Citizen Festival with 70,000 people, and they just utilize the space well. So the same thing could happen, in this scenario, and probably earn more money for Pan Trimbago and the government. We think it's important in this era here is trying to get, the state bodies, the Pan, the Calypso, the Mass, to be self-sufficient. So everything you do must make financial sense. You just can't be doing things and spending money, and so forth, but try to make money. And I think 2026 is a good year to start these initiatives with these bodies, to give them the guidance, give them the support to make sure everything they do makes money for the government and for the people.
And why do you think so much emphasis may be not placed in the area of PAN? Because it's an ongoing conversation. We recently changed our coat of arms to reflect an image of the steel pan. We talk a lot about steel pan, but when you look at how steel pan is treated, do you think we are really serious about it being our national instrument?
I would think so. And I want to take this opportunity to compliment Pan Trimbago and the president, Ms. Moore. I think they're doing a wonderful job, but there's only so much they can do because of the resources. So, more have to be done nationally to accept the fact that Pan is our national instrument, and we have to do more. We have to pay more to go to the events. Sponsors have to come forward. But it starts with Pan Trimbago and of the different statutory bodies. I think they are doing the best job and will continue to grow under the stewardship of Miss Beverly Ramsey Moore. And in time to come, Pan will be it. I mean, I always say in conversation, Pan is Trinidad and Tobago, and we have to give it our all, and we have to push it. We have to make it known worldwide, because a lot of countries play Pan and hear Pan, but they don't know Trinidad and Tobago is a birthplace. And what happens with that is a lot of countries get into the carnival business, and they would play the Pan and they would play the soca and so forth, and the way they do it, like if it's their own, and they wouldn't highlight the fact that this is Trinidad and Tobago invention.
And
So
and
we have
that's
to
why, sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt you, Mr. Glasgow, and that's why I ask
Go
if
ahead.
we are really serious about what is ours, because you see some countries, Japan, there are other countries, when you see what they do with the steel pan, somebody who doesn't
Yes,
know any better will think it's definitely theirs or some
yes,
part of the world, because
yes,
are we really taking that world presence and letting, because we have to let people know it's ours.
yes, yes. And only yesterday I drew the example of reggae and dancehall. The whole world knows that's a Jamaica creation.
Right.
But however, with the soca and the calypso and the pan and the chutney, a lot of the world don't know that is Trinidad and Tobago products. So we are selling our culture short. What's done is done, but going forward, we have to get the right people to do this and promote our culture as it should, because the other islands are showing you the carnival business is big business, and everybody makes money from carnival, and this is why I want to see the Pan Trimbago and the Tuco and the NCB make money from the events, because if everybody making money, how come you can't make money? So the focus have to be shifted. They have to get that support, and going forward, I think things will work out. But you have to get the right people in the right places doing the right job.
Right, and of course we have a new Minister of Culture, Ms. Michelle Benjamin. We have a new government in place. What would you like to see from her and from them?
Well, the minister is newly minted, and she started on a good foot. She's meeting the players within the industry, but they have to pursue. They have to know what is working and what is not working. What is not working is important. Try to fix it. Get the support for them to make the thing, to make our culture a money earner for our country. Over the years, you see the amount of money, spent by the government into NCC and the statutory groups. And I feel that have to change. I feel the country is short of money. I mean, being real, there's no oil and gas as it used to. So we need things like Carnival. Over the years, for years and years, we are pumping money into Carnival. So the time is now for Carnival to repay the country. It's time that NCC go to the bank with money. Not it's not a one-way street anymore. So hopefully the minister will convey, in her way and her style to these bodies that things have changed. When you're getting 16 million, 20 million subvention a year, you can't get that. Getting it, show us what you did with it, how it was spent, what are the benefits to the people in the country. So some hard questions have to be asked in going forward, and everything should be all right. We also want this. I think it's important that to Carnival. I know Tobago want to do their own thing, but Trinidad could help Tobago Carnival. And I want to see that relationship develop and that trust. Because, you're St. Vincent, Barbados, you call the countries with Carnival, and it's Trinidad they look to. Everything they do is a replica of Trinidad. You want to be different, you could do things different, but Trinidad is the home of Caribbean Carnival and so forth. So Tobago should reach out to Tobago in some tangible ways and make things happen and bigger. So I'm hoping for that.
Right. And of course, you are in events management, production of events, etc. And you have made quite a name for yourself, of course, in the different various industries that we have. How, and using your experience, your expertise, how do you think we can change the mindset of the people who are part of the organizations like Tuco, Tobago, even trickling down to smaller community groups where they wait on the government to hand them money in order for them to accomplish goals? Because you have privatized what some of them are trying to do, and you are progressing with it, So how do we change the mindset, go out, do things, do fundraising, plan projects, bring in the revenue so that you can accomplish your goals?
Yes, the mindset had to be changed. Is no longer a handout situation. And when we were president of the Promoters Association, one of the things we wanted to do, understanding like the NCC operation, the statutory bodies operation, and so forth, they fall short in marketing and how to spend monies on logistics and so forth. So I could see the best promoters, inviting NCC and the statutory bodies, make use of us. Let 3 promoters work with NCC, let 2 work with Tuco, let's, and so on. And I think it will change, because there are about 600 events in Carnival, and 595 all make money. And the 5 events, or the 5% or the 4% that don't make money, are the NCC events.
Right.
And it shouldn't be like that.
Right.
So you have to have that dialogue, and you have to understand, in the promotion business, while you are selfish and want to take your fame and so forth, nothing wrong with that, but you have to understand, if people could help you, you let them help you, because they're Trinidadians. We're all Trinidad and Tobago citizens. So make use of the talent, because the world is doing it. If when Jamaica started, they came that, and they choose promoters, they choose events, whatever it is, and that is replicated with other carnivals. They come to Trinidad and they ask for help, and what help they get, help take them where they are presently. So all the brain stuff for carnival was right there in Trinidad and Tobago. So the first order of the day is to get those bodies off of the handout situation. Carnival is about money. Carnival makes money. Everybody makes money in Carnival. So you have to make money too. There's no oil and gas. Let Carnival be, a money earner for our country. So with that mindset, those facts and those hard talk, things have to change. And that's the difference.
I want to thank you so much for sharing your perspective and, of course, your insight in terms of how we can all move forward. Because from what you have said, I can tell that you would want to see everyone become successful and to really understand how the industry can work for everyone.
Yes, and that's the nature of the entertainment business. Is you offering a product that is unique, and they always say there's no business like show business. It's high risk. The bank don't lend you money because they know it's risky, depending on your track record. But, let make Carnival a money earner for our countries, Tobago and Trinidad. Let's take that approach. Let's stop that handout scenario. Let's move away from that. If you want funds, show us what you did and what you did with it. Once we get that understanding, things gonna be all right. The entertainment industry gonna be like banking, it gonna be like any other major sector because you put in the business sense into it, and that is what is lacking in the entertainment and our carnival industry. People see it as a fun event. It's fun, yes, for the spectators and those who participate in other ways, but with the business of carnival, it must be taken like a business, and it starts with the government. It starts with NCC, Tobago, Tuco, NCBA, who are getting in 10 years, NCC would have gotten probably about $1 billion. And there's nothing to show for it. We put up a North Stand, we take it on. They build a carnival village that is free to the public. This village costs millions of dollars. But right next to this village, you build a Calypso tent, also costing millions for Tuco to charge an admission fee. So many nights, nobody is paying any money to watch Calypso tent when they can get it free next door. So things like that happens year after year after year without correction because everybody is just about, wherever it is, which is wrong. So that must be changed. Everything you do must make sense. If it don't make sense, don't do it.
Right, and again, thank you so much for sharing with us this morning. Viewers, that's all the time we have with Mr. Randy Glasgow of Randy Glasgow Productions this morning. Thank you again for taking time out to share with us. Viewers, we go for a break. When we return, we will meet representatives of the Methodist Church right here in Tobago, and they have some special news to share with us.